Hey folks, welcome to Mr. P's Film Review. I'm here to talk about John Wick 3, the third installment in the John Wick franchise, which sees Keanu Reeves reprise his role as John Wick. This film follows the events of the second John Wick film, which if you haven't seen it, I'm going to give you a small spoiler, in which we see our hero on the run after having a $14 million bounty put on his head, and he sees numerous assassins from New York trying to kill him, and his job is to evade these assassins. I've got a small spot in my heart for the John Wick films, especially part 2. When I first started this channel in 2017, John Wick 2 was the first review I ever did on DVD. So it's got a special place in my heart. Also, more important than that, I love the John Wick films. In terms of their narrative, in terms of the films and the action sequences, they're just great. The first one was a complete shot in the dark, and as preposterous as the plot was, it worked based upon performances, action, the fight sequences. Loved it. The second film did what a sequel is meant to do, which is you're meant to go bigger. You're meant to have better action sequences, better hand-to-hand fighting combat, a better storyline, and you're meant to explore and expand the universe of the John Wick narrative, which is what they did in the sequel. The third film, I was worried about, because when I learned that they were going to do a third film, I thought, okay, you've had 2 solid entries. Will the third one go the way of Blade Trinity? Whereas you had 2 Blade films which were solid entries, then you had a third one which was a very, very weak installment and was the death knell in the franchise. Having seen this film yesterday, all I can say is, folks, holy shit. This film was incredible. They've raised the bar again when it comes to making these movies. Everything that you enjoyed about the first one, everything that you enjoyed about the second one, they have added it to the third one, and they have added more. This film is a thrilling experience from start to finish, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, that this film has some of the best action sequences, some of the best fight choreography that I have ever seen committed to film. And it is a rarity to have an American film have fight scenes of that magnitude. I'm usually used to seeing those films in Hong Kong films, be it like The Raid or other Hong Kong exports. But the crew have surpassed themselves with this film. And hats off to Keanu Reeves, because I've seen the making of John Wick Parabellum, and I can easily say that this man threw himself into this role. He committed years upon years of dedication and hard work to keep himself in shape and to learn new fighting techniques to make this character more incredible. And he did. Hats off to him. What I love most about John Wick, visually, the film is stunning. It is just a phenomenal film visually, because this film captures New York. New York can be a character all by itself, and it is just beautiful the way that they've captured it. Captured the shots of Times Square, other parts of New York City, and again, with this film, they've expanded the John Wick universe, so they've shown us him in Casablanca. And I liked how they just captured these beautiful shots. The cinematography in this film is incredible. And even the finale sequence, just the utilization of colors, it was just such a real treat. Action sequence wise, I can't talk enough about this film. They are just on point. They have raised the bar in terms of like chases, in terms of utilization of horses and motorcycles. When I reviewed the second John Wick, I remember I was traumatized when the utilization of a pen in a particular sequence. And again, I'm exaggerating, but the way that they utilized it. In this film, the way that this man uses a book to dispense with an assassin, it just leaves you with your jaw open. And that is what this film does. It grabs you from the get-go and it doesn't let go. Performance-wise, everybody in this film was on top form. From Ian McShane to Lawrence Fishburne to Angelica Houston, they were all on top form. Keanu Reeves especially. Now Keanu Reeves, let's agree, he's not the best actor. Very wooden. But when you give him a script that can complement his acting ability and his charm and his capabilities, you can get a great performance out of him. And you can see that this film was tailor-made for him. The same category that I've used for this film, we can easily apply to The Matrix in his role of Neo. He was perfectly cast for that role. And the action sequences that this man is in are just second to none. I was a bit skeptical about having Halle Berry in this film, in terms of what is she going to bring to this role. And having seen her previous action films, i.e. Die Another Day, Catwoman, and we saw that piece of shit went out. Fears Allay, don't worry. She did very, very well. And there's one particular scene where she utilizes her German Shepherd dogs to dispense with assassins. Will just leave you with your mouth wide open. And this film is just one of those trilogies where it just gets progressively better. The trajectory of this film is just going up and up and up, just like the Captain America films. Captain America, Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, each film was just progressively better. And also with John Wick, Parabellum, I can easily say that this film has to be quite one of the funniest in the series. And I don't want you guys to be dissuaded by the fact that, oh, have they gone for a lighter tone? No. The film still maintains the narrative of a dark tone, but there are some genuinely funny moments that work well in the film. And they are placed perfectly. Other films, i.e. Blade Trinity, you had humour that was misplaced and totally unnecessary. The humour in this film, Parabellum, works very, very well. I also liked how they've given us a great backstory to who John Wick was, which wasn't explored in the previous films. But as a whole, what I loved most about this film, John Wick, is the fact that the narrative of this film remains consistent throughout. And you know what the storyline is, you know what our hero's objectives are. And it works well throughout the film. In other films, you've got weak plots and they try to cover up those plots with action sequences, unnecessary humour. Not with John Wick. You know exactly what it is, what's happening, and where this film is going. And the finale sequence has to be seen to be believed. I can only liken it to a video game where he's going through different levels. And the trajectory of John Wick Parabellum is pretty much the same trajectory that it went with, like John Wick 2. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. When I saw John Wick 2, there were question marks left. That as a viewer, I was like, okay, why did that happen? Did he die? Did he survive? And the same thing can be said with John Wick Parabellum. There are questions that are left in this film that will have you asking, okay, what's going on here? What role did he play? Okay, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And after speaking with friends, after speaking with my good friend Joe Cobra, subscribe to the channel by the way, and after speaking with other people who've seen this film, we all we came to the overall consensus that this film will possibly lead up to a fourth installment of the John Wick films. And that is a strong possibility. And when you see how the film ends, you can see why I reached that conclusion. If they do a fourth John Wick film, I sincerely hope that it follows in the same trajectory as Live Free or Die Hard, which was the fourth installment of the Die Hard films, where it kept the magic, it kept the humor, it kept the great storyline, it kept the strong action sequences of the previous Die Hard films. I hope that John Wick 4 doesn't go the way of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where you had 3 strong entries and then you had a very weak fourth installment, which despite having all this hype around it, didn't work that well because of poor pacing, a bad plot, but it was covered up by good action sequences and visual effects. But overall, John Wick Parabellum, my good friend Joe, excellent way to spend a Friday. Instant buy on DVD, and I will give this film a very, very strong 9 out of 10. So, there you have it. Have you seen John Wick Parabellum? If so, hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know which one out of the 3 is your favourite John Wick films. And by the way, subscribe to this channel, and I shall see you on the next film review.